This episode, I'm going to continue working on the roll cage on the Fox-Body Mustang, which I named Zero Fox Given. For my design that I came up with, I'm not going to have a rear strut bar that just goes from my B-pillar all the way back to the rear strut. I'm going to have it follow the roof line, then follow the window down. Why I'm going to do this is I'm going to attempt to have a rear seat, which would be this area here. And this area here would protect the rear passenger's head. So I'm going to have the A and B pillar, which I built on the last episode, and this episode I'm going to attempt to build my D pillar, what I would call more of a roof hoop, and then a down bar on the D, and then eventually I'll put a C pillar, which would go down to the plate that the B pillar is mounted on. So the front passenger is going to have this hoop protecting them, the rear passenger is going to have this hoop protecting them, and the D pillar will go back to not a plate but the rear bumper, which will go to a plate, I guess. And that is my design. If you followed that, thank you. To get the rear down bar or the rear strut bar in place, I'm gonna have to follow the window, and I'll have to cut out a little bit of area down here. I think it'll fit through this opening right here, but I'm gonna have to open up a little more on the top and up here. It ain't going to be very comfortable and your head's going to be hitting. Maybe that's a bad idea to have a rear seat. Hey, Jack Black ever got on tape the second best song in the world? Got to clean up another pipe, get the rust off it, and then start to bending it. I got in trouble last time for not wearing the safety goggles, so here we go. Be about 19 inches to the bend. I don't want to have to rebend this and mess up, so I added 16 inches on this side of it, and then it's going to be 4.5 inches from right here to the bend. So that there was 19 inches to the center of the build, so it should be like 23 about, well 16 but 20 and a half inches to the beginning of the bend, so another couple inches, so it's like I said, 22 inches to the actual bend should give us plenty of room. think my initial bend of 30 degrees wasn't enough. So I kept, I never took these bolts off or loosened them or anything. They're in the same exact spot. I just released this a little bit. So I'm going to try to go to like 34, probably 33, and then work my way up to like 37, something like that. But I'm going to bend, check, bend, check, bend, check. I got the rear, I guess what I'm calling the D pillars, the rear bars, the down strut bars, or whatever they're called. I got those in. I got one crossbar on them. Everything's being held together with ratchet straps. I'm trying to get everything extremely tight so I can weld them in there. A little bit of a gap, but nothing that's out of spec and nothing I can't weld together. I got to clean up all the edges. So once again, I can weld them in tight, but I just got straps everywhere holding everything to be square and in the middle. Now, let's tack them all together. Design for the trunk or the rear bars, the rear strut bars. Since I want to have an operational rear seat, probably not for a grown adult, but like for my kids or something like that, I went with this design. I followed the roof right here, went down with the window, and then I'm going to go back to this pipe. I'm not going to weld this pipe in yet because I'm going to have to notch the ends, because my goal is to build a tube bumper, come out around here, tube, come out around here, come back, use these bars, you know, where the bumper originally mounted, put pipes up to the rear bumper. Gonna leave a little space, approximately 10 to 12 inches, so a spare tire could just sit in here when I want it, and I'll just strap it in there. But so far, that's my rear bumper. That's my plan. I'm gonna cut out all that stuff, just so if you're going from flat ground to you want to climb a hill, the back end doesn't hit. So, you know, it gives us a little more clearance in the back. I haven't really figured out how I'm going to do a bunch more clearance in the front. I think I'm just going to cut all of this area out. You know, obviously this, since somebody had a little too much fun with the forklift right there. But yeah, make a pre-runner style bumper, front and rear bumper, and hopefully that works. These back rear pipes, what I figured out is this angle is 35 degrees. This bar is about 17 inches from where the bend starts, and that's about 38 inches from when the bend starts, and the bend's 2 to 3 inches. I found out, instead of just measuring stuff and cutting to length, I cut everything a little longer and then just test fit it, and then slowly cut metal off until everything fits to my liking. I'm going to tack everything in except this bar, because I want that bar to still move so I can put crossbars in the roof. But so I still need to fit that in. I still need to be able to move that bar a little bit, so I'm not going to tack that in yet. I'm just going to keep it there with a ratchet strap. So once I put the crossbars in, that's when I'll tack it in and really do the final weld. I got to do the same with these bars up here. Got to build one more bar for here. And then this one isn't going to move because its crossbars aren't going to go completely from the corners in. It's only going to go, you know, the pre-runner style that makes a V right here, the intrusion bar. So I won't have to move stuff to get to that corner. So I can just weld this bar in permanently. I'm having a little issue with it. When I welded the initial welds in, it was a little tilted. so I'm pushing it this way, and then I'm going to do a final weld or tack it in a little more. But make sure everything's even on the edges here, make sure it's all straight ish. I don't know if this was going to be a, well, I do know it's probably not going to be a drag race certified cage, but I don't ever plan on taking this to any of the big boys. We'll probably do like a gambler or something like that. Woo. Please feel free to roast my welds. I'm going to stop this video right there because my welder, it's not feeding wire correctly for some reason, and I'm out of pipe because I keep bending it wrong. So hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll keep working.